Hello, welcome to Pop Along RC. Today's video is all about my journey so far with my LMP 12 racing car. So ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to get into LMP racing, but never quite managed to do it. But of late, I managed to get this Schumacher Eclipse 4 LMP 12 car, which is the older version. The Eclipse 5 is actually out now, but I managed to get hold of this from our good friend RC Ian over at Rochester RC. And I've fitted it out with various electronics, which I'll go through and show you in a minute. Now, it's safe to say I'm a noob in regards to LMP 12 racing. I've done it once before. I went down to Wycombe RC Club and Mark Styles kindly lent me one of his cars and I thoroughly enjoyed it and got the bug. So one of the reasons I wanted to get into LMP 12 racing is I wanted to become a better driver. And having spoken to some of the pros since doing the channel, a few of them said that they started racing LMP pretty much from the get-go. A year ago we met up with Ollie Payne. Now if you don't know who Ollie Payne is, he's about as good as they get at this class, LMP 12 racing. We were lucky enough to have a little interview with him and here's what he said about it. How's it going today?
Yeah, pretty good actually. We're here doing some testing in preparation for a race next week up at MB Models. So trying to do things today and yeah, it's going pretty well.
How long have you been driving?
So I've been racing RC cars in general since I was 10, so 12 years, and then 12 scale for about 8 or 9. I actually started with Tamiya Minis when I was 10, and then I went from there straight into 12 scale. So
wow, that's a hell of a jump.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
And
like
then
MO3 to like 12
yeah, exactly.
scale,
It was. That was what I started with. That was my first car, and then I got a team associated 12 scale.
Wow.
And then I raced the GT12 after. With a Zen car, and then I sort of progressed and then basically went straight. Now I primarily race 12 scale. That's my main class. I don't find it stressful at all. Yeah. I enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I'm sure it'd be stressful. You know, I don't find it like a job. It's more of a hobby, so it's still something I enjoy doing. But yeah, it's the main thing. And if you don't enjoy it, then why does it matter?
Anyway, listen, look, thanks for talking to us, all right? And I know you're busy in that, so we fully appreciate that. And good luck with your last final.
Thank you. Yeah.
So after having that little conversation, it got me thinking, because as I said earlier, I do want to become a better racer and I want to spend more time racing. So one of the big draws of racing LMP 12 is the races are 8 minutes long and that gives you plenty of track time. When you consider you go to a track and you have one practice, 3 heats and a final, normally you're talking 5 minute practice, 5 minutes heats and then a final. That's what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes on track, which if you want to become a better driver, that's not really enough. Another draw of doing this class is it'll train your reflexes. I did find that when I was out and about with this car, my brain literally was just on overdrive, trying to keep up with the car. They're super quick, these cars. So like I say, I'm not ashamed to say I'm a complete noob when it comes to racing LMP, which is a good thing because I would like to see a few more newbies getting involved in this class. I'm still using my budget radio. I'm pretty much running the car on a tight budget. The electrics that I have installed in it are very, very good. However, they are slightly cheaper than some of what the top guys are running, and I'll show you those in just a sec. So you can do this class on a little bit of a budget. So although this is a Schumacher, there are plenty of other different types of cars if you were thinking about getting involved in this class of racing. And we were lucky enough to meet up with Mark Styles. If you don't know who he is, he's pretty good, he's pretty handy. So he's been a bit of a mentor for me over the past sort of month or so. I've been pinging him messages here and there about setups and bits and pieces and tyre truing and such for this car, and he's always got back to me, so big thanks to him for that. If you don't know who he is, check him out. It's pretty good, let me tell you. So the last time we were down at Wycombe RC Club, we asked Mark about some of the different types of cars on the market, and here's what he had to say.
Okay, so here at the club, the main class really is the LMP, and we've got a few different brands that you've talked about. So what is the most popular brand at this club, would you say?
I'd say at this club, probably the Automatics is the most popular car. I might have something to do with that, perhaps. There's a few guys that have been out and bought them because they've seen me driving mine. So it tends to be what happens at clubs. You'll get one or two guys going well with a particular brand of car, and the general advice in RC is go to your local club and see what other people are running and run that, because then you'll get more help and support. So it's not really any surprise that Automatics is the most popular LMP car here.
Okay, so you've got, obviously, Schumacher have got the Eclipse 5 is their latest version, but what other cars do you know of that are running at the club at the moment?
So there's one or two Destiny cars, DTY 12 I think they call it. So they're available through Zen Racing, that you might be familiar with. There's X-Ray do a car, but I don't think there's any running tonight. There's a guy running a Roche, which used to be quite a popular chassis, a little bit less so now.
What can you tell us about this car that we're about to have a look at?
So this car we're about to look at, it's called a Club Race Hero. So this is a predominantly 3D printed chassis that's been designed by a guy called Scott Jakes, who's based in America. So he's designed this car, which is it's a little bit rudimentary, but it's got all the main features that an LMP12 car would have. It's got the front suspension from a Destiny on it, but the main chassis and the rear pod, it's all 3D printed. So Scott Jakes designed this, put it on, I don't know, Shapeways or on other websites. You can basically download the files and print the chassis in comfort of your own home. There's a lot of these running at races in the US, because that's obviously where Scott Jakes is based. So he goes to races and offers support for the car there. And yeah, some of them are going pretty well in their stock class at the recent Raw Carpet Nationals. So yeah, it's another option really. If LMP12 is a class that you're interested in and looking to potentially get into, it's something to consider.
Okay, let's just focus this in. So here we go. This is the car. This shell, for those of you who want to know, is the bomber, the Keta bomber shell, which apparently is the shell of choice at the moment. So there is that shell. Pretty nice, pretty sleek. These shells are really built just purely for aerodynamic capabilities, clearly. This car is the Schumacher Eclipse 4. It's the slightly older version. The 5 is out now, and here it is. So this is a relatively, I guess, cheaper budget setup, if you like. I'm using my Futaba T3 PV radio. I don't really plan on getting anything flashy in that, to be quite honest, because it's been absolutely rock solid all the way, and unless it lets me down, I'll change it. But there you go. And what else have I got in here? So we've got the Orca electrics. I absolutely love the Orca stuff. It looks nice, it runs well, and I trust it. This Orca ESC retails around about 70 quid, I think. So again, this is a lot cheaper than than the competition out there, i.e. the Hobby Wing stuff. I think, looking at this, I think I'm overgeared there. I'm sure somebody will drop it in the comments. Looking at the footage back, I think I probably was. Anyway, but there you go. So that's the car. There's not really much else to sort of say about it. I think once you get these things set up, you pretty much leave them. Might have to remove some shims at the front to allow for some more ground clearance as and when the tyres, which are here, wear and get smaller. The tyre of choice that I have been using, although I've got contact ones here, are slightly different ones. So I've been using these ones here from Zen Racing, the OT tyres here. They've proven to be really quite a nice tyre to use, and considering I hit the barrier a few times, they stood the test of my newbie driving. So there you go. that's the car. So my first ever proper race with this car was the other day at Wycombe RC Club. Let's see how it went. There we go. So we are away. I'm right at the back of the grid. I qualified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Yes, I qualified 5th. So got away a bit sketchy on that first lap. I just wanted to kind of get my eye in really, but much better on this second one. A little bit wiggly around that middle section, but the car's going well. But yeah, I think looking at it, I think I was a little bit overgeared. It was coming off reasonably hot, but still, it's all stuff I've got to learn. I know there's an FDR chart and all that sort of stuff that I've got to get involved in, rollout and such, but you know, I've got all that to learn. But yep, still going strong here. And who have I got behind me? I think I've got Mark behind me. He's closing that gap super quick. His car is absolutely rapid here. And what you tend to do in that instance is you can see him approaching, and you just literally pull out on a corner like that and let him go. He's literally made me look like I'm standing still. But then again, we've got to remember that he's a very accomplished racer. So the final scores on the doors came 4th. Quite happy with that. There you go. So I think you'll agree, actually, not a bad sort of result, to be quite honest. Didn't come last, which was good on my first ever race. It's safe to say I'm still dialing the car in. I think there's some changes that I probably need to do off the back of that first race. I'm pretty proud of where I was placed that day. I couldn't really expect for, I don't think, any more than that. But listen, do I recommend LMP 12 racing? Absolutely yes. I think it's a great way to sharpen up your responses, get some great track time in. And you know what, once these cars are set up, I don't think there's a great deal that you need to do to it. And if you're stressing out about tyre truing, honestly, it's actually a really therapeutic thing to do. I had no dramas whatsoever. And in terms of chunking tyres, basically chunking tyres means taking big chunks out of them when you race. I think I chunked about 1 or 2 tyres, but only minimally. And I took some big hits actually. So yeah. Anyway, look, I hope this video's been useful for anybody wishing to participate in this class. If you've got any questions or queries or anything like that, drop them in the comments below. I am by no means an expert in this class. However, I'm just starting out, and hopefully it would be nice to maybe do perhaps a national this year or something like that. Anyway, there you go. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, hit the old ding dong bell, and get involved in racing. See you again.